Hi guys, welcome back to Caterkwik. Today we're doing another little cook. So today we're going to be doing bagels and croissants, so we can sort of try and explore the other functions of the ovens, because I'm pretty sure so far we've only used them on convection most of the time. So we're going to start by steaming off the bagels, and then we're going to stick them onto combination mode, which is steam and dry heat. And we're also going to be doing some croissants as well, so they'll be going in after the bagels have been steamed. So I'm going to be steaming them for about 4 minutes, I reckon, maybe 5 minutes at most. And I've hand rolled them all as well, so hopefully they come out all right. So I'm just going to start by popping them all in the oven. Right, the steam comes out. I'm going to start across this way and then put a 5-minute timer on. So we're going to go to timer. And lastly, this one. There we go. And now we're off on all of them at the moment. We went through all the ovens and all the features last week on what each one does and what each one doesn't. And we're going to get back into that again, and we're also going to go back into maybe some other things that we have covered in the past as well, just for people that have maybe not watched the previous episodes of this. So over here we've got the Electrolux here, the Skyline Premium. This is like a very sort of basic model. It's one of the most popular models that they sell as well. Very easy to use, very self-explanatory, and the training on it is pretty straightforward as well. I did a little bit of training with Electrolux on it. It probably lasted about an hour and a half, and it was really informative, really easy to understand, and I quite liked it. And next one down, we've got the Convotherm Max. This one is the 10 grid version. They've got a 6 as well, but these came in and have shown me how to use it as well. This is a very straightforward screen to use. It's all in one place, very user friendly. The training on this probably lasted about an hour as well, and it was all pretty self-explanatory. So it's really easy to make sense. So if you're no good with technology and you might need some more assistance, then these two are pretty easy to use. And if you've got people coming through the business all the time, the new chefs, they're easy to use, easy to understand. Next down, we've got the Rationale. This is probably the most popular model that we sell, or the most popular model probably in the UK, to be honest with you. But I've done training on this as well. We did a few hours on this. Lots of different functions, lots of different things you can do, like selective each tray cooking, or you can have recipes stored where you can do certain things as well. And then next down, we've got the Hobart Chef's Combi. Again, did training on this as well. It was really insightful, really helpful as well. I'd never used one of these before, so I was kind of new to it. And it's a pretty simple combi to use as well. It's got a lot more features than, for example, the one on the end, the Electrolux. But it's got about the same features as a Rationale, and they're all relatively similar in regards to the features that they have. So the Electrolux down here, these ones are £5,599 plus VAT. You've got this one at £3,499 plus VAT. This one at £7,350 plus VAT, and this one at £8,099.99p plus the VAT. So we've got a good range of budget range, mid-range, high ends for you to choose from as well. And I think we spoke about it a few times in the past about coming down and using them. These combis aren't going to be here forever. They're only going to be here for a few months. So if you do really want to come down and use a few different types of combi ovens, I'd definitely get down while you can, because eventually we will sort of stop this, and then they will be sold off to as a refurbished item. So if you do want it, it's a good opportunity, and I don't think there's anywhere else in the UK where you can test as many combis in one place either. Before you spend a lot of money, you can just make sure you're getting the right combi oven for yourself and for your staff. And at the end of the day, they are an investment. So yeah, definitely worth having to come and have a look at them. So they're all coming along nicely, and not too much longer to go now until they all come out. I've never made a bagel before either, so we're all learning something today. I've never made a bagel before. I understand the concept, but so I'm rolling them for the first time. They might not be the best looking ones in the world, but hopefully they taste pretty good. And hopefully these ovens do them all justice for me, because they're pretty much doing all the hard work. As we've said before, we can install all of these machines for you, and we travel up and down the country from right up the top, right down to the bottom, and we can install them wherever you're at. And if you are interested in the install, just give our office a call. Someone will be more than happy to go through it all with you. Normally we require some images of your existing services just to make sure that everything that you have in place at the moment is correct for the oven that you're going to be installing. We just like to double check and make sure everything goes as smoothly as possible, which is why we do that. So we've got about 30 seconds left, and then what I'm going to do is we're going to stick them on combination. So I'm going to go I'm going to go like 50% steam at about 180, I think. I accidentally put this one on 50 minutes, not 5 minutes. My mistake, but it's all right, because when that timer goes off, this will be done. Here we go. Right, so now we're going to go across and start putting them all on. Start over this way. So to stick this one on a new cycle over here, you've got 3 buttons at the top. The center one is the combi function. So if you press and hold down, it'll come out of its cycle, and then that one just lights up for you. It's on 50% steam already, which is fine, which is what I want. And I just need to change the temperature. So I'm going to change that to about 180. Timer this time, I'm probably going to go about, I'm going to say about 15 minutes maybe. So let's 1.5. I'm going to press the play button. And we're off. Next one down, got the Convotherm up here. All the symbols look relatively the same. They've got a red and a blue. This one's got like little wavy lines, so I'm going to click on that. I'm going to change the temperature up here. So all you have to do is tap on the temperature, and it will come up for you. Tap on the timer. I'm going to go again. I'm going to go 15 minutes. Tick. This one has like an auto HP, but it doesn't have necessarily the multiple levels of steam that this one does. So I can just, so it's got 3 levels, low, medium, high. So I'm going to go on medium for this, and then press play. Rocking. Next one down, we're rashing out. Got the same button again, blue and red. That combination, we're going to change that down to 50%. And we're going to change that up to 180. And again, we're going to stick it on for 15 minutes. Let's see how they're doing. Now we've got this one. So, combination again, 50% steam, and then we're going down to 180 for 15 minutes. Still a bit rusty with these sometimes, as I say. Learning one combi oven's fine, trying to learn 4 at the same time. Sometimes there's a lot of information to take in. So, when we order combis normally, these all come with like their own individual waste kits, which is like a PVC piping, and they come in multiple, like they're like little attachments for them and stuff, and you can connect it to your waste supply, which is great. But over time, the plastic PVC pipe with these pouring out boiling water, then pipes over time can warp and crack. I don't know how long that will take to happen, but it does happen eventually. And so we sell on our website, we sell a waste kit that we try and sell with our combis. So it's a ton dish with a 2-inch waste, and it's basically like a little metal bucket that your waste pipe will just sit inside, and then connected to that will be a 2-inch copper pipe. And that basically what the copper pipe does is it takes away the worst of the heat that's coming out of the oven, so it doesn't affect the PVC pipes further down the line. And then on the other end of the copper pipe, we have a trap attached to it as well. And you can buy that with the ovens as well if you wanted a bit more, extra, I don't know what the word is, like durability of your oven. So we always try and recommend that you buy one of them with it as well. I think they're about 257 plus the VAT, but worth every penny really, because it saves someone coming out later in time and trying to change all the plumbing around and taking off pipes that have been cracked and warped. But these all look like they're coming on. Tell you what I didn't do. I just need to give them a little sprinkle with sesame seeds. That's what I knew I was missing something. There we go, happy days. Should have really done that when they came out of steam, but I did forget. As I was saying, so these ovens, ideally, you want them going underneath an extraction fan, especially when you're using steam a lot. As you can see, there's a lot of steam coming out of these at the moment. So ideally, you want them under an extraction. If you don't have that available at the time, you can buy ultra vents, which take away all the steam. I mean, if you open the door quite wide when you've got the ultra vent on, or the hoods that come with them, the steam will just escape outwards. So ideally, you just want to crack the oven slightly, let the steam do its thing inside its own little hood, and then that'll just take away the worst of it if you haven't got an extraction for it as well. Let's have a look. So I think once they come out, I'm going to stick the croissants in afterwards, just to try and make it as fair as possible. These won't take very long to cook; they're only very small. When you're buying a combination oven, you sort of ask yourself the question: what am I going to be using it for? How often is it getting used? Do I use steam all the time? Do I use combination all the time? What is it you're actually using it for? And they're the kind of questions we'd sort of ask you when we get an inquiry in, just to try and get an idea of what it is you're looking for and what you want to get out of the oven. Because sometimes you can save yourself a little bit of money. For example, I was on a site a few days ago, and they have a kitchen in a town hall. And what happens is people, outside caterers, come in and start prepping food in their kitchen. And they wanted like a combi oven, but they wanted something that was really, really easy to use, something that doesn't require any training. And that's fine. So I sort of recommended one of these, one of them, or maybe a classic version of the Rational, because that's the pro version with the screen. The classic would look a little similar to what the Electrolux does. So that's what I've sort of recommended to them, just for, because some of these people that come in aren't necessarily professional chefs. They could be, just a family coming in who want to cook a buffet meal for all the family for a wedding or a christening or something. So it has to be pretty simple to use, just in case. So that's why I recommend it to them. And if that's what you're looking for, is simplicity, then definitely worth going for one of these. But again, you can get training on all of these ovens, so you don't need to sort of worry too much about if you can't use it or can't, because every single supplier will come out to your site and they'll show you how to use them. They'll even set up certain functions for you. If you've got recipes that you use over and over again, multi-step cooking, they can set these up for you and save the recipes in here for you, so it's all pre-done for you and you don't really have to worry about it then. Or, you can just add to it yourself. They look like they're coming on nicely though. Down here, we've got all the tablets. I'm sure we've been through this before, but I'll go through it multiple times just so you know. So you've got two different types of tablets that go in the Rational. You've got the detergents and you've got the rinse aids. And then you've got they come in like little tablet forms. And then down here in the Convotherm, you have liquids. So you've got two types of liquids. You've got the rinse and you've got the detergent as well, which just feeds directly into the machine. So there's like a little, almost like a glass washer or a dishwasher sometimes. So you'd put the pipe inside the thing, screw the lid on, and it would just sit in there and it'll just draw it in as and when it needs it. The Rational has, this one in particular has got the auto dose function, which is like a little cartridge that just sits just below the door here. And that just saves you having to handle any chemicals, and then in its name, it auto doses. So it just doses how much it needs. And then we've got the Hobart on the end. Again, they've got a little sachet, which is like a sachet of sort of rinse and descaler. And then they've got the detergent tablets. So the detergent tablets will just sit inside of the center. And the rinse aid and the descaler would go in here. Most of the suppliers do recommend that. I don't think they're going to take quite 15 minutes. I think it's going to be a bit quicker than that. But as I say, first time cooking a bagel, so I'm learning something today. So I was saying, they all recommend that you clean them regularly. Now, it's not just to clean the internal of what you can see in the oven. More importantly, it's cleaning what's on the inside, the boilers, which can get build-up of limescale, especially if you're in a hard water area. And limescale, it doesn't matter what machine you got, it will kill your machine eventually, and it's an expensive repair. And most times 9 times out of 10, most suppliers won't cover limescale damage under warranty, because there's preventative action there for you to use the tablets, and if you haven't been doing that, they would sort of say it's a site error. Not going to go too much into that, but that's why it's important as well, because ultimately it'll end up costing you money. For the sake of a few tablets, 100% worth it. I think these are about done. So that's the Rational ones coming out there. We've got the Convotherms. I think with the direct steam that I put on them, it doesn't take as long, because the direct steam's really, really effective inside of these ovens. 2 more to come out. I'd say this one maybe needs a couple more minutes. It's probably quite ready, but the colour's just not quite there for me. This one, again, is not far off. Really unusual that some of these were ready beforehand. As I say, I closed the ovens at different times, and some of them on like a preheat function as well. So for example, one on the end, that's why it might be taking a bit longer. And same for this one. I didn't give it the time to preheat, but I'm trying to use it as realistic as possible. Got the Hobart ones there. Lastly, we have got the Electroluxes. There we go. Now, if I'd put the sesame seeds on when they would just come out the steamer, it would have stuck really nicely to the top, but me being me, I forgot. So that's my fault entirely. So they all look quite nice. They all look quite nice. The Rationale's got the most colour on it. Probably got the least amount of colour on it, but I'd say I kind of like that colour, to be fair. It does look nice. Let me just... Definitely feel done. Perfect. So they've all come out. They all come out at slightly different times, but it wasn't too far away from each other. But that just goes to show that most of these ovens almost operate very, very similar to each other in regards to timescales. Now I'm going to do croissants next. Croissants, I'm going to use the same function again, so I'm just going to change the timer if I can. I'm going to give it 15 minutes. Now I know they're only little ones, but should still work. What that oven's telling me there is the internal needs to cool down slightly. So it's got like if you see this little symbol, it's got a green thing that goes all the way around. And once that's come all the way around, that's letting you know that the oven's at the ideal temperature. Perfect. A little function on this oven, which I thought was quite a handy little function, is it's got the universal symbol for pause, which is just two chunky lines next to each other. You can press that button at any point during the process and it will just stop. The oven will just completely stop what it's doing. Now in kitchens, you know, when you're busy and maybe a timer's gone off, or you've got something in the oven that you need to take out, but you're in the middle of serving a table, whatever it might be, you can just walk up, press the pause button, and the oven will just stop dead in its tracks, and it'll just stop the overcooking of whatever in there. And then to get back out of that again, you can't just press on pause. You have to come back out of the cycle, go back into the cycle again. But as I say, if you're in a busy kitchen and you forgot something, or you haven't got quite a second just to take it out yet, and there's multiple things in there that you need to sort out, just press the pause button and it will just stop dead for you, which I think's a really neat little function. I'm pretty sure some of these probably can do it as well, but I just know for a fact that that one does. Ooh. The fans are on relatively high, so it was just blowing the greaseproof paper, so I was just trying to stop that from happening. To clean these units, if you say, for example, if you're doing, I think some of these, the suppliers say it should be done really like every day, at least a light wash every day. But if you're doing like 3 light cleans a week, the average costs on these, so you've got the Electrolux at £3.30 per clean. That'll be like 3 times a week, so that'd be about £3.90, I believe. Next down, we've got the Convotherm, which works out at about 82 pence a clean, which incredibly good value. Next down, we've got the Rationale. These come in at £1.65, I think it is, per cycle. I've got there. Yeah, 82 plus those. That's it. And then next down, we've got the Hobart, which works out at about £2.47 per clean. Seems like a lot of money in the short run, but ultimately it will save you money in the end, and you don't have to manually clean them like you do with sort of turbofans or various other convection ovens. So we're getting there. So I'm going to cut into a couple of these and just see how they look in the middle. That's the first one. So that one there is the Electrolux. They are very hot. Sorry, the cutting's not great. My knife's not the sharpest at the moment. Next, we've got the Convotherm. And then lastly, we've got the Rationale. So I think they've all cooked quite nicely, to be fair. My holes aren't the best, but I tried my best. Maybe I think I might have just slightly overproofed them. Maybe that's why they've gone a bit sort of thick in the middle. These croissants come out, I can have a little go through what all the ovens can do again, like all the little functions and stuff. All of these ovens are available in multiple sizes as well, so it's not, we've got all 10 grids here. Arguably maybe the best-selling one, maybe all the 10 grids, but some people prefer, so we've got them in 6 as well, and we've got them in 20s, and we've got so like 20 gastro level, like 20 levels to each one. We also do one called a 2x1, which is effectively a 40 tray, and that there's a bit more of a specialty item. Not a lot of people have a lot of need for that kind of volume, unless you're working in maybe, I don't know, you're working for the Ministry of Defence and you're feeding a lot of soldiers, or hospitals, or large care homes where you're doing quite a lot of buffet work, or big large hotels. So, but not a lot of need for them. So they do come in 3 sizes. The Rationale does also have like an XS, which is a 2x3 gastro size, which is ever so slightly smaller. Again, it's a very niche item. Not a lot of people want it or have a need for it, or it's just not big enough. But if you're really tight on space, and XS is a good one to go for. All of these ovens are only available in 3-phase supply. Don't do it in single phase. But the 6-grid Rationale iCombi Pro and Classic can also come in single phase if you need it. But I'm not 100% sure on these two about them being on single phase as well. I'm not sure if they can or not. I don't believe they can. But then again, there's not a lot of need for single phase. A bit like the XS, we rarely come across it, but we sometimes do. So it's always nice to have that option if you've only got, not enough power coming into the building, or if you've only got a single phase fuse board. So all of these ovens as well. So we've got most of these now. So they can all come on casters. So they all come on wheels, so they're easy to move in and out to clean underneath. But they also come with tray runners as well, which is just underneath every single one. We haven't got one on this one at the moment, but it can have it. And when a lot of people, when you take stuff out of the oven, like a lot of smaller kitchens might not necessarily have a blast chiller, so that's what they will use them for, just to stick it under there, take the worst of the heat out before it goes into the walk-in fridge, or before it goes into fridge or freezer, for example, just to take the worst of the heat out. I think I spoke about this last week as well, that the Electrolux, you can actually stack a 6-grid blast chiller underneath this 6-grid oven, not the 10-grid, you can't do it on the 10-grid, but you can on the 6. So that's a really good option if you've got limited space as well. You can stack these ovens as well, so you could have a 10 and a 6 on top of each other. I believe you can do a 10 and a 10, but it's just not recommended because the working height is far too high, and if you're taking trays out really high up and something falls, you're going to get really hurt. But you can have a 6 and a 10, so you can have 2, and that's a really good option for you as well. That you could sit and say, well, why don't I just buy a 20? But if you've got a 6 and a 10, you could have, if one oven breaks down, for example, you've always got another oven to tie you over, which I think is a good tool to have, because it doesn't matter how much you spend on these ovens, at some point or another it's going to break down on you and you're going to need a repair. Now sometimes a lot of these people can get out within 1 to 2 days or 24 hours. It depends on the supplier, but it also depends on how busy they are and how much of a backlog they've got on service. So sometimes it can take a tiny touch longer depending on the availability at the time when you raise a service call. So having that extra oven sometimes is really helpful, especially if it's essential to the everyday running of your business. So they all look like they're coming on all right. I'm happy with that. All these ovens are 1x1 compatible, so 1x1 gastros will all fit inside of them, and that's like the universal size of trays in the UK, that we all use the same ones and the same sizes, which is really interesting because it just makes life easier. On these as well, you've also got what's called Delta T cooking, which is like overnight roast. That's really good, for example, if you are doing a Sunday lunch and you've got a lack of oven space on a Sunday morning, you've got to come in dead early just to be able to get everything through it, your Yorkies, your roasties, your veg, your beef, your turkey, whatever it is you're making. What will happen is the oven will cook it overnight for you, and then it'll hold it at night for you as well. And then that will sort of integrate into the HACCP systems that are built into these ovens, that shows you when it reached temperature, how long it was held for, what temperature it was cooked to, and stuff like that. So that's good for compliance with the EHO. But yeah, it saves a bit of oven space in the morning. But doing Delta T cooking also reduces meat shrinkage as well, which is just incredibly important in most kitchens, especially because the price of food at the moment is through the roof, and staff wages are through the roof as well, for a lot of businesses. So, if you was to save, even if you put a top side in and you save 10% on meat shrinkage and you get 12 portions, you're getting an extra portion and a bit out of each individual beef, and that's the bottom line of your profit right there. That's an extra beef that you've just sold, and it's only £15, but if you're doing 5 of them, it's an extra £50, £60, however much you charge for a beef. It's like £20 for a roast dinner these days. So if you had 5 in there, that's £100 every single week. So it's £5,500 a year, which it really does add up, and that's the benefit of Delta T cooking, really. And it also means that staff don't necessarily have to start as early, because the one item's already done, the meat's done, so you can take it out, and then maybe your staff could come in an hour later because they don't need to come in that early to turn things in and out of the oven. So again, really good for that. Once all these start to come out, I'm just going to have a little dig into some of the settings again for you, so I can familiarise you with how they all works. So these all have really good little helplines as well. So this oven has connected cooking, and this one's got something, I believe, I can't remember what it's called though, but so it's got connected cooking. So it's got a little QR code up there, but on the connected cooking app, you can control everything about this oven. You can put recipes into the oven. As long as it's connected to the Wi-Fi, you can connect it to your phone, You can see what's been cooked, how long it was cooked for, what temperature it was cooked at. You can even control it from home. So if you put something in the oven and your commis chef popped something in before he went home, like a beef joint, and he set it at 68 degrees, you can see that on your phone and you can change that. You can change that live, so you can change it back down to 48 or 50 if you, depending on how you cook your beef, but you can change that so you can see if someone's done something wrong as well. But so that's another little option as well. But on the connected cooking apps, there's like another app, and I think it's like Rationale Training app or something, and it's got like a full list of you know, errors, error messages might have. It has instruction manuals. It has just about anything you might possibly need. So it's really helpful in that sense. So this one, as this one's a bit more of a basic one, they do Electrolux do ones like these as well with the screens on as well. But they did say this is their best seller. But this one has also got a HACCP function on it, which has got a little HACCP button, and you've got your little USB port over here, so you can take it in, take it out, and you can see what's happened and when it's happened. So although it has more of a basic screen, it can still compete with the rest of them easily. Something we touched on last week as well was sous vide cooking as well in these ovens, which can be done, which is great for you know, if you've got a lot of sous vide machines and you can get rid of them almost. Probably not quite as efficient. So maybe I'll say a sous vide machine's really good at what they do, but I would say these can probably do a pretty good job of it as well. So that's another little feature for you. They also have, so this one and this one has an air fry function, which is really interesting to me because these can save you money on oil ultimately. So you could do 10 trays of chips, as I was saying. So they have an air fry function on them as well, so you can do your chips. You can do whatever if you're doing kids meals, chicken nuggets, you know, fish fingers, or whatever it is it might be. But that's a really good saver on oil as well, considering oil prices are through the roof at the moment. So air fryer mode on these, it might not be necessarily good for your smaller restaurants and gastro pubs, but if you're in hotel work and you're tossing out a lot of covers, that could be really helpful and also save you a hell of a lot of money on oil costs, because it doesn't really require too much to get it going either. So just another little feature that these guys can have. These also sell something called the iHexagon, which is their latest model of combi, and it's crossed with a microwave. So it's got microwave technology inside of it. I believe Rationale purchased some sort of microwave technology, started putting it inside of the oven. Just giving them another 5 minutes and they should be about there. Unfortunately, I did forget my eggs this morning, so they should have had a nice little egg wash on them, but unfortunately, I forgot. It's fine, it's fine. It still does the same thing I needed to do, it's just maybe not going to look quite as pretty as I would have hoped. And I made all these, pretty much made all this last night, just before I went to bed, so it was all ready for you. Just come in this morning and roll them all up. So, when we were talking about combinations and like combination steam and convection, so like these three both have scales from 1 to 100, or 0 to 100, should I say, which is a fantastic little feature. But like, you know, what's the difference between a 30 and a 35%? You know, it's I don't know what it is either. So, but it just gives you much more of a range to do things, and I suppose it's like a trial and error. You have to figure out what's right for what food you want to cook and how do you want the end product to be. And I think that's why it gives you so many options, so you can figure it out and really sort of hone in on the best possible cooking method for that particular bit of food that you're cooking. I could turn the fan speed down, but it wouldn't be fair on the rest. But I'm just going to take the grease proof off it. But yeah, so scales from 1 to 100, so so you can really hone in on what you're cooking and get the best possible outcome. Now, obviously, I think even Rationale said it to me, it really is trial and error of using the oven and understanding what setting does what, which just takes a bit of time, but it's not something that can necessarily be taught. It's something that you have to figure out for yourself almost. Whereas this little one here, this one only has 3 settings. And they've only done that because the words they said to me was, you know, what is the difference between 40 and 50%? You know, is it marginal? Is it even worth it? So they've only got 3 settings, which is low, medium, high, and that's for convection, steam, and for fan speed as well. There's just 3 options, which is just their idea was to just simplify the combi oven, which I think they've done a fantastic job of. I'm pretty sure that all of these croissants are there now. I'm going to make a bit of space over here for them. As I said, if I'd washed them, they might have looked a little bit nicer. So we've got the Hobart here. These were done on the same settings as... These were done on the same settings as I did the bagels. So this was 50% moisture. This is the Convotherm. And lastly, we've got the Electrolux. So, out of all three, I'd say the rationales came out the darkest in regards to the into the colour that's on top of it. Still a really nice cook, but a lot more colour than the rest of them by quite a bit. And bearing in mind they were all on the same settings. I know maybe they went in a few seconds after each other. I might have opened the oven door here and there, but there's still a lot more colour on it. Not a huge concern, it's not a problem. It's just a visible difference that I can see. And the Electrolux had the least amount of colour, but I still think they look really nice. Same for these ones over here, all the croissants. The Electrolux did have the least colour, but they're still looking very nice. Whereas the Rational and these three almost look very, very similar to each other. So if you want to just come over here for me and we'll have a little look at these screens just one more time. So as we were talking last week, also before I sort of get into these screens, if there's anybody out there that wants to learn something else, if they want to see me do something or what other functions it can do, or if there's something on that you're unsure of and you want me to go through, then more than that, you just drop a comment on and we'll sort it out next week. That's absolutely fine. So up here we've got the cook here, which is just your standard cooking. Fine. And then here we've got combi guide, which is all your different types of meats, eggs, pastries, etc. So you've got proofing and fresh pastry cakes. So they do have a proving function on them as well. Now a lot of bakeries do have provers already, which is a completely separate machine to a combi oven, but you can do it in this oven as well. So you can pick what you want to cook, for example. Let me go back into it. So you've got poultry, you could go chicken, you could go grill it, and it'll set up all the things for you. And then we've got Delta T, which we spoke about earlier on, which is like your overnight roasts. And then you've got Refirm here, which can hot hold your plates for you. Now you can get trolleys for the 10 grids, which pull out, so you could have your plates on there, pull it out, and serve pretty much. They have a 20 grid oven that can do it as well, but they're still developing the racking system the mobile racking system for the Refirm sort of functions. So they're still working on that, but that will be coming soon. You've got menu mix. For some reason, I cannot remember what that thing does. I'll have to have a little look at it. I'm sure it's the tray thing, but I don't want to get too far. So we've got recipes here, which store all your recipes in. You can put your own in there as well, which is fine. And then you can just sort of click on it and start, and that will start the function for you. If I was to go there, so if I was to go back into recipes again, you've got your options. So rather than scrolling all the way down, you could do bacon convenience, you could do eggs, you could do fish. And you can pick it and you can add individual items to your favorite one. Then we've got a top 12 here, which you can put the top 12 most used things into, which is, you can just go in, bang, click the chicken breast, press start, and it'll start going for you. Oh, cool little function on this one as well, and it's really simple to do, which I thought was absolutely amazing, and I love the simplicity of it as well, is if you don't use half of this stuff in here and you don't even need it, right, or if you've got commis chefs that don't quite understand what most of it means, or they haven't had training on, or whatever it might be, you can alter this screen completely to whatever you want it to be. So now it's sort of, if you look at what's there now and then look at it's sort of mimicking what's already there, and then you can just click on what you don't want to see. Now the screen's completely changed to whatever you want it to be. Stick them all back on again. Next we've got the combi clear, you've got the rinse, so these are all your different cleaning functions here. So you pick from, they always recommend you do a light clean every single day, which is about right. Next over we've got the rationale. So this is the standard main menu that will come up when you turn it on. And obviously these pictures are pretty self-explanatory. So you've got your meat, red meats, you've got fish, baking, vegetables, bread. You've got a good range of things in here. And then you can also click on these here and you can add this to favorite, or you can add it to the production manager, so you can add that in if you wanted to. So you could say I wanted that into, and then you can just add into the in itself. It also tells you what temperature it's cooking to as well, which can be changed. So when it comes to that production manager as well, it won't let you try and cook things that are impossible to cook together. So if you're steaming broccoli and roasting a beef joint, it won't let you add it to a production manager because it's not possible to do it at the same time, because you don't want to steam your beef. So it has got a bit of intelligence in there to tell you how and what to do. In here you have got your various cooking items here, which you can also add to certain things on the oven itself. And then you can also click into them, you can edit them, you can change the way you can change the name. This is the process here. So you've got that, and that. And then up here, you've also got your cleaning cycles. So you've got six different types, sorry. So you've got light, medium, strong, you've got fast, rinse. Now, fast shouldn't really be used for anything, really. The only thing it should be used for is if you've dropped something in the oven, like whatever it is, and it's made a bit of a mess, give it a quick rinse out, that's fine. Ideally, you don't want to use it for anything other than that, and you certainly don't want to, that's not cleaning the machine. So it's rational, say you don't really want to use that. It's just there for that reason and that reason only. So ideally, you want one of these top three here. But it also says here how dirty it might be. So the cleaning status is 93, care status 100%. Next, we've got the Convotherm again. So up here, you've got your standard cooking, which is your little chef hat, which is just really straightforward. And then you've got like your fan speed here, you've got your timer, your temperature, and this is like a menu button, so you can create a recipe here. Press and go is like items that you might have added. So you could have added this, and this is bacon, and then you can stick it on a tray, for example. And you've got all the different items that you can sort of do that on as well. Next, you've got your recipe book in here. So you can go A to Z, and this has pretty much it's got all your basics in there, but it's not got anything too sort of difficult in there. But you can obviously add to all of this and add your own little recipes, and you can just sort of click play, and it'll start doing the whole function for you. And next we have the cleaning functions. So again, they've got the quick rinse again. So again, if you drop something in the oven, makes a bit of a mess, you want to get rid of it quickly to stop it from burning on or causing any damage, give it a quick rinse. You've got express, wouldn't probably use that one too much, but light, heavy, the two ones you probably would use regularly. You can go from 0 to 100 on that as well. Then you've got your temperature here, which is just your temperature control, so you can set it to whatever you want, but the max you'll ever go is 300. You've got your timer, which is pretty self-explanatory. You've got these little droplets here. So this will inject water just on this side of the oven in here, and it'll send in a little bit of steam. So if you're cooking bread and you just want to add a bit of steam there, you can do that, and each one signifies 30 seconds, so that'd be 2.5 minutes of light steam inside of the oven. You've got your fan speed here. I'm going to turn this off for a second. And then you've got the cleaning cycle. Now the cleaning cycle won't light up all the time if you're not necessarily in something, so you can click on it. And then you've got your multiple clean, so you've got 4 cleaning cycles, and then you've also got a descaler as well. But we're not going to use that too much today. The little lightning bolt here, this is a half power, so that's good for sous videing. Then we've got the pause button that I spoke about earlier on, my favourite little button. You've got a temperature drop button, you've got your HACCP button, and then you've got this one here, which is a boiler. So this will drop all the water inside of the boiler and refill it again for you. Now the oven does do it itself anyway, but if you wanted a fresh supply of water in there, you'd press that, it'll drop the water down. And then these 2 buttons on the bottom here are your recipes. So you've got the save button here, which will save a recipe, and then you've also got this little button here, which you would put all the settings in and how long you want it to steam for, then put onto roast, for example. There we go. That's near enough the worst of it when it comes to the ovens. Now, I haven't had much of a chance. I've done a bit of training on them, just haven't had much of a chance to physically sit here and play with them over the last week and a half, or 2 weeks, shall I say. And I really hope I get like an hour where I can come in and just really crack down and because I've been shown how to use it, but trying to retain the information from all 4 ovens is quite difficult to do sometimes. So if any of you guys are from Hobart or that Rationale are watching, I'm sorry, I am trying my best, but I'm going to continue playing with them and see just see if I can get the best out of it. I think we're near enough at it at the moment. Trying to think if there's anything else I can add to this today. These ovens can come in gas as well. That's something I've never mentioned, I don't believe. So you can have a gas combi oven. Now, gas combi ovens do still require some sort of electrical connection for the screens, but you can have them in gas. I'm not 1000% sure on the Hobart one, but I know these two can. I'm not sure. I don't think this model can come in gas. If you are contemplating using one in gas, your canopy needs to be a lot bigger than your standard 300mm overhang. If you've got a gas combi oven, you need a 600mm overhang, which is ideally why we've got a bit of a bigger front here in case we had gas ones in, I believe, maybe. But you would need a larger overhang for a combi oven, a gas one going in, just to keep with current regulations. Up on the top of this one over here, there's a QR code on the Electrolux as well. Now inside of there is like your instruction box. It's also got a really good troubleshooting function on there as well. So like rather than trying to call an engineer out or if it's potentially something that you could solve yourself, it's always worth just having a little look, because it'll always say like, if you're having this issue, check this, etc., etc. So it's really good for that sort of options. Now, when you come to turning these ovens off, some of them are pretty straightforward. This one here has a lovely little on and off button, which I really like. Again, next one down for the Convotherm. That one also has a nice on and off button. The Rational has a little button up on the top here, so you would hold that down and a little screen would come up saying, do you want to turn me off? And you just swipe across, turn itself off, but you do need to exit the functions that you're in to be able to do that. And then the Hobart on the end, all you would do is hold the button in. And then once that orange goes all the way across, it'll turn itself off, which is a really good function, really easy to turn off. Quite like that, actually. Well, I think I'm through the worst of it. I've sort of recapped on what we've gone over the last 4 weeks. I'm going to have a little practice with the ovens to see what else we can do. I'm running out of ideas for cooking things inside of these ovens now. I'm starting to fizzle out of ideas. Something that's a fair test. I wouldn't mind if someone at home wouldn't mind telling me what you want me to cook next, and I'll do it. Or even if Rational or Hobart, if you're watching and you know that there's a good, because you guys do loads of demos, you know what works well in regards to doing a demo. Maybe you could drop me a line on my email, let me know what you think, and let me know what would be a good idea. I wouldn't mind trying the air frying function at some time, but I've got to remember that maybe not all of them can do the air frying function, and we're trying to keep it as fair as possible. So I don't really want to have to go down there, but we might do. I'm trying to think. As I say, these ovens aren't going to be around for a great deal amount of time now. Probably a few more weeks, maybe a couple of months, maybe. So if you do want to come down, definitely just give the office a call. They'll be more than happy to get it sorted out for you. And also keep your eye out for a really good bargain, because they will be going up for sale, and you'll save a good amount of money. And as you may notice, they've had very little use, so ideal for anybody really. Another thing I talked about the other week as well was with these Electroluxes. You can have a freestanding blast chiller, and you can also have the brat pan that goes with it, and the blast chiller will talk to the oven. So you would cook, chill, reheat, which is a really good option for hotel work or anything like that. Or if you're doing buffets on a lot of food, that's a really good option for you as well. And as I said earlier, you've got the under-counter one that can go underneath as well. The Rational, they do a Vario, an iVario. They come in multiple sizes, and they have like the Varios can be used to just simply fry a piece of fish for one person, or a steak, or it could do a stew. It could be a deep fat fryer. It can be a pressure cooker, and they heat up incredibly quick. And the reason I quite like them is if you're doing large amounts of stews or chicken pie mix or whatever it is it might be, when you stick your meat inside of the Vario, it will sear it off really quickly, and it doesn't lose moisture out of the meat. And like, you know, when you put it in, if you put it in a saucepan, a big frying pan, you put your meat in, you'd only put a bit in to start off with, but if you put a bit too much in, the liquid will start coming out and it'll start boiling instead of in the pan rather than frying. And that's what the Vario can do. And you can do it on a much larger scale. So if you're doing a lot of pie mixes or if you're a butcher's that does a lot of pies, it would be a really good asset to your business. They do cost a fair bit, but absolutely 100% worth it. And you can have them sitting side by side. They have the same sort of screen as the Rational as well. So if you learned how to do the Rational, you can learn how to do that too. And they also come in like single ones where you can get like 150 litre iVario, or you can get something like the XS, which is 2 smaller ones side by side, which I think is really good because you could have one as a fryer in service and you could have one as a blancher for blanching your veg during service. And they have like automatic lifting lids as well, so you can attach the fryer basket to the lid, press the timer, and it'll drop the lid with the basket into the fryer. And then when the timer goes off, it will lift it back up for you. Again, another really cool little feature, little nifty little thing. And I've used them quite a lot. We had one in here for quite a while, which we've just sold. And I've used it quite a lot, and I really rate them. I suppose you've got to be a bit more of a specialty kitchen to have one, but it's definitely worth having a play with them. And if you are interested in a Vario, Rational do trials of them, which is like a 6-week trial, and you can either, at the end of the 6 weeks, you can either, but the whole process really is that Rational will site survey, check you got the services to put it in, then they'll install it for you. And once they've installed it, you can use it for 6 weeks, and at the end of the 6 weeks, you can either go, not going to use it that much, didn't really like it, send it back. Or you can keep it and just pay for it. And the best part about that is you're getting a free install because they've done it for you and you get to keep it. So that's absolutely ideal, you know. So it's a really good idea if you wanted to do that. But most people that get the Varios in on demos, and I think at every demo that we've ever done here, at the end of the demo period, almost everybody buys it, which sort of speaks volumes really, because they are really cool, nifty little machines. This oven doesn't do one. Hobart, I think, maybe might be working on one, but we'll see. And then Electrolux, they've got their brat pans, but they've got brat pans and Tilton kettles. And another good thing about Electrolux, which I think there's only 2 ovens here that can do it, which is the Hobart and the Electrolux. You can fit your kitchen out with these brands. So if you're looking for a Rolls-Royce kitchen that's going to all be matching, same brand, it's all going to be suited, it's all going to be really nice and matching, Electrolux would be really a good route to go down. And they have got a massive range of different brands that they use. Not brands, sorry, different ranges. And they start from sort of low end and they go right up to a really high end stuff. And they can come out and site survey it for you. They can size it up, get your prices. Really, really good. So you could fit your entire kitchen out with Electrolux. So that's why it's a sort of, you know, they're a really strong brand, and the same people that make our dishwashers, which are fantastic machines as well. Hobart also can fit out most part of the kitchens. I even believe they can get into refrigeration now as well as like cooking equipment, which is really interesting. So you could fit your kitchen out mostly with Hobart stuff as well. Trying to think. I've used Rationals for years, and it's not often I get to use this many different types. So it's an interesting, it's learning something new for me, and I'm trying to sort of decide, like, all of these machines are really, really good machines, and we don't want to slander any of them or tell one's better than the other sort of thing. We don't really want to do that. That's not the whole point of this. But if you want to find out which one's your favourite's going to be, come on down, have a little look. And as I said earlier, if you want to see me cook something, or if any of the suppliers have got any ideas for what's good for demonstrations, which I can do here, that'd be great. And hopefully I'll see you next week. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.